Welcome to the Coach Santiago podcast, where Coach Santiago shares his expert knowledge of athletic development, coaching tips, advice for parents of athletes, and how you can turn your passion for the sport into your business. Coach Santiago has over a decade of experience and has worked with over 2,500 athletes with programs generating over $10 million in sales and $2.5 million in college scholarships since 2003. We hope you enjoy each episode, and remember, coaching is an action, not a position.
All right, guys, Coach Santiago, welcome you to another episode of the Coach Santiago podcast. Today, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about what I think is the best and latest secret weapon for athletes today out there. And that is, it's going to sound funny, guys, but when we think about high school athletes and their pursuit of their college dreams and the people they have to talk to, whether it be high school coaches, whether it be travel coaches, whether it be event organizers, college coaches, college recruiters, admissions office, etc., etc. I'm pretty sure you guys have noticed, especially anyone out there listening above the age of 30 or maybe even 35, that these kids have a hard time communicating without a keyboard. And what I find to be surprising beyond that is that they are still very, very social. Probably even more social than some other generations before them. It's just a different type of social. They also, seem to believe that they can communicate things of importance, like, life-changing decisions. I've decided to do this. I mean, I remember some of the times in coaching travel ball, I would get a text from a player saying, I quit. Or I've thought about it with my parents and we're no longer going to participate. Or we're really upset. We want to have a meeting. Things that I would never, ever think are appropriate to do via text, they seem to find very, very appropriate. And so as I tell most of the families that, I have an opportunity to work with privately or publicly or come to my seminars or just give me a call for some advice, which I invite anyone who's listening to this to do. The only problem with that is that the person that's making the decision on whether or not you're going to have an opportunity to even be considered to play at the collegiate level is not from that era. Meaning you can't communicate with the coach at the University of Texas the way you do the person that you hang out with at the high school. Just doesn't work that way. So with that being said, we have to think about this as not a common plague, although it is, but what a great opportunity for you as a player if you're growing up in today's day and age of just keyboards and different things that you can communicate with. And being able to take that to the next level and saying, okay, if I can get some training, if I can develop some skills to learn to market myself face-to-face, eyeball to eyeball, picking up the phone, having a heart-to-heart conversation, having a live dialogue, having a set of questions I can ask, having just some basic back and forth communication with a person, with a college coach, or with a pro scout, or with a high school coach, or with a travel ball coach. I'm going to be somebody that's right away going to stand out from everybody else because most of the kids and young men and women out there cannot do that. So that's why I call it the secret weapon for this particular generation, because it's something that nobody's teaching them. It's something that, parents are harping on them. I hear a lot of parents, put that phone away and look at me and talk to me, but there's not a whole lot of training, right? I mean, at the end of the day, whether we're talking about selling cars, whether we're talking about, driving a car, flying a fighter pilot or running a business or whatever the case might be, there are two types of people, trained and untrained. And, at the end of the day, if our kids can get some training and get some development, this is a great opportunity for you guys to just really master something that is not only going to help you with your athletic career, but it's going to help you in other areas of your life, business, scholastically, being able to communicate better with teachers, being able to communicate better with anyone. I mean, I don't care who it is that you admire, male or female, they are a great communicator. That's what allows them to be successful in their business life, is being able to be a great communicator. So we have to be able to communicate at a high level. We have to be able to market ourselves, because nobody's going to do a better job marketing us than us. And, you hear me say that all the time, where it's just it's an ongoing theme. But I think it's a powerful theme. I think it's a great opportunity to, just by understanding how to communicate, how to have a face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball conversation, and make it an engaging conversation, right? I mean, just don't sound like you're a robot that you've been reading a script. Get out there and have a conversation. Make it one that somebody can connect with, because we have to get people to fall in love with our story. I don't care what it is you're selling. And if you think you're not selling yourself and you're trying to get a scholarship at the next level, you're sadly mistaken. You are definitely in the game of sales. You are definitely in the game of marketing. You are definitely in the game of trying to get people to fall in love with your story, fall in love with who you are, fall in love with what you can do, and more importantly, fall in love with what you bring to the table. So if you bring to the table something unique, I'm going to be attracted to that as a coach. I'm going to want to find out more. I'm going to want to find out more about you and continue to engage in conversation and move things along, move things forward. So, this is something that I think a lot of people are missing the boat on. The last thing I'll mention before I go is, how can, let's say mom and dad aren't around and you are a player and you happen to be listening to this and you're saying, well, how can I practice this? How can I, do some things interactively to learn how I do this? Well, the first thing I would say is, you've got an opportunity every single day with your teachers at school to interact with them, ask questions. To me, the easiest way to ease the tension, I don't care, where you're at in your life, if you want to be the person that's never uncomfortable in a social situation, just ask the other person questions. And you'll start to see that they start to come out of their shell. You start to find out more about them, and it becomes easier and easier to have a conversation. If you sit around and wait for people to ask questions to you, that becomes a little bit more intimidating. So I would say, interact with your teachers. Maybe even tell one of your teachers, hey, I'm looking to grow and develop in this area. I'm working on my communication skills. Can you help me? Can you help me understand what you see? Right? I mean, I've ran into several players who can talk a good game, but they don't look you in the eye. They don't communicate very well. They don't carry themselves very well. These are obviously nonverbal levels of communication, which again, you don't see in a keyboard, and you don't get these skills dealing with your keyboard. You get these skills by dealing with people live in real life, right? So, those are some of the things that you can definitely do with your teachers at school. And the same thing with your coaches. I mean, start interacting more often with your coaches. Let them know you're working on this. Let them know that, you want to have a little bit of a different relationship with them, because you feel like it's going to strengthen your abilities down the road. So there are a lot of things you can do. You can watch, some tapes. You can YouTube a lot of stuff. You can work on a lot of different things. You can read books. But for me, I think the easiest thing you can do is just get started. Start putting down your phone and having a conversation with somebody over the phone, or having a conversation with somebody face to face. It's a great way for you to learn and develop some skills that are going to take you to the next level. As always, guys, love Love sharing stuff with you guys. Remember, coaching is an action, not a position. And communication. All high achievers, high performance individuals are great communicators. Coach Santiago signing out. Dominate the day.